Now, Flash, we teased it just before the break there, the top 10 players in the game for next year, 1-year contracts. We're getting them down to Tasmania to play just for this year. And you could have 3 ruckmen in there. We're not saying that they're all running out together. We're saying these are the targets that you would like to have on a 1-year contract for the Tasmanian team to play next year. Do you want to lead us away with your top 10?
Well, yeah, let me start with it. And I've framed this, we've been talking about this all week, but I've framed this as still the best 10 players in order. So if I'm doing my free agency list, I'm starting with the top and I'm saying he's the best and he's the next best. And I think that, because there's many ways you can do it. You can throw in leadership and, et cetera, et cetera. But this is what I think.
Do you want to go 1 to 10 or 10 to 1? 1 to 10, I reckon.
I think 1 to 10.
10's going to start where we're going to start talking them through.
I want to just touch on one a little bit longer. We talked about Max Gawn last week before the game and looked at that game and thinking, who's actually going to stop him? He's taken to his game to another level. Now, he's not going to play a game like that again with some of those goals were just incredible. I don't think he's kicked more than 2 or 3 in his career like that.
I think 4.
3.
I think 4 was
proper good ones.
Proper good, yeah.
He did.
4 was his career best before that. Now, two knee recos. That's what people forget about Max.
2 knee recos. He kicked 4 for Casey one day. I was calling the game a few years ago.
That doesn't count, right?
No, it doesn't. But
is he number 1?
He's number 1, and I've got him in front of Daylight, and I think he's that far the best player in the game.
Who does Daylight play for?
I've still got Dustin Martin as second, and out of full respect, and I think to say that a lot of people, and you'll shoot me down, but Gawn has gone in front of Martin's ridiculous, but I'm certainly giving Martin the grace of this year, etc., and what's happened at Tigerland, the respect from previously. But to me, right now, Gawn is the one player that I would take in front of Martin. I've got Bontempelli at 3. I've got his teammate, and I know you won't have him that high, McRae at 4. I think he is a megastar. You know what he reminds me of? Can I frame this?
Yep.
You know my love for Joey Kennedy is like no other. And in 2011 to 2017, Kennedy won 3 All-Australians. It should have been 5. I won't even get started in that. He was the most underrated top 10 player of that year that no one ever talked about. I feel like McRae's the same. He's an accumulator, but he's tough and hard. I have loved everything about him, and I still think he's slightly underrated. Him and Petrarca will be wonderful viewing. I don't know if they'll play on each other. I've got Petrarca at 5. Nice. What a 2 years he's had. Incredible. Toby Green's at 6. He does stuff that I think only one other player can do, and I might mention him at the end. That mix of kicking goals, taking marks, tough and hard is remarkable. At 7, I've got Nathan Fife, and I'm giving him the same injury sort of let off, I guess, that Martin hasn't got. Fife is still the best player over there by a mile when he's going. I've got Oliver at 8. I've got Grundy at 9. Grundy's last 2 years hasn't been as good as 18, 19, but I saw enough of him when he was playing well this year. I would want him on my list. And then 10's the hard one. Okay, I've changed this and I haven't told you this. I know Isaac Heaney is not done enough to be the 10th best player in the competition, but Isaac Heaney, in my eyes, still could be what Martin was the last 5 years, his next 5 years. And nice. I've got Isaac Heaney in the top 10. Now, I've left out Grimes and I've left out Papley, and I talked to you about this.
Yep.
They're the other 2 that I can find a role. Grimes is stiff, but Isaac Heaney, I've rolled him into number 10. I want him at Tassie.
So, Grimes at 11 and Papley at 12?
And I know, look, we've talked about Papley. I just think he's a small forward. There's no one as good as him. And I don't think it's close. Cameron. Physically, teammates, etc., etc. Go for it. What do you think?
Charlie Cameron's better than Tom Papley, I reckon.
No, he's not.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I've got Bontempelli at 1. I just think... I think that...
I didn't see that coming.
When he's up and about, which he has been for most of the year, and I know a lot of people have bagged him over the back end of the season, but he still hasn't been as bad as what people have said. He could be so far in the front in the Brownlow this year that they can't chase him down. So I've got Bontempelli as 1. Big midfielder. Love what they bring. Next, I've got Toby Green. I think he is the pound for pound in terms of having possessions, the role he plays, the forward line he plays in, and the team he plays for. He has the most impact of anyone in the AFL when he gets.
Can I give you a stat on that just quickly? There's 2 players in the game that average 15 possessions a game, 5 marks, and kick 30 plus, and they're those 2 guys we're talking about. That's an unusual stat, but a really significant. I reckon Heaney and Green both fall into that bracket.
Yeah, no. So I didn't have Heaney in, so I won't. Yeah, I like Toby. I've got Dustin at 3. Still, he falls into that. I'm a big one on score involvement, so I think he's in there just for that. We know he's the champ. Clearly injured in the back end of the season, and interesting to see how he comes through that, just with the way it happened and contact and what he gets into. But he just has impact on games and big games, and that's I'm weighting that as well. The fact that he can play well in finals, as we all know. I've gone with your number 1 at 4, Gawn. How good was that goal on the run last week?
Oh, my gosh.
How good was that goal on the run last week?
Yeah, that was incredible. I liked his first snap. I mean, that's something we haven't seen before, like a curler from 40.
He just... The value of having a ruckman like that, and we have seen very, very few ruckmen like that, is, well, it's so important, and he will be a massive, massive reason that if he plays well this coming week, in Saturday
100%.
fortnight, he will be the reason that Melbourne can win it. And the man that got him that goal, single-handedly got him that goal, Christian Petrarca, I've got him at 5. He sort of fits into that Dustin Martin mould, doesn't he? Toby Green that plays that he's probably... Toby Green's more forward than midfield. Those 2 blokes are Dustin's probably a bit more forward than midfield, but Petrarca's that more midfield than forward. Brute, absolute brute. And I think he's learnt to use his body. That's what I like to see. That still step through.
Does he kick it a bit better too? Does he, his foot skills a bit tidier?
I think the ability to break through stoppage and get out allows him to be a bit more cleaner. So that little handball to Gawn last week for the running goal was there. Sparring partner Oliver, I've got at 6. Best hands in the business. Unbelievable handballer. Love what he does in terms to get it out, and he gets it out to the guys like Petrarca. I've got Franklin at 7.
Wow. Gee.
How good. You would know better than me. His back half of the year, when he's up and going, he's still unstoppable, isn't he? He's still the best forward in the competition when he's up and going, isn't he?
I think he is. I only watched him live a couple of times this year, but the evidence that we saw up in Launceston, and Heaney was the one that was taking over that game in the second half. But why can't he play for 2, 3 more years? I mean, he's a beautifully gifted, aerobically sound,
well managed
Aboriginal man that covers the ground.
Yeah. Well managed. I've got Tom Stewart at 8, best defender in the competition, I think, and clearly.
So he's better. Okay, just hang on. I'll just check that. He's better than Grimes. He's now gone past your 3-time premiership teammate.
No, I think Grimes is an unbelievable stopper and interceptor, but for mine, I reckon Stewart gets involved a little bit more on offense, and I mean the Geelong result in the first week of the finals and the third week of the finals showed how much they really did miss him with that foot injury. I've got McRae at 9. The one thing with McRae, which I think gets underrated, is his ball use is elite. And I think it's just because he's a left footer and maybe he just kicks around the corner a little bit. People think, he may be a bit of a scrubby kick, but he's actually an elite user. And I've snuck Fife in 10. I think up and going, obviously, two-time Brownlow medalist. When he's up and going, just it can hurt you in the air, can hurt you on the ground, and he's a
pretty similar, really.
Pretty similar.
Franklin.
Could you find Dangerfield? Where would you have Danger?
No, I couldn't. I had him still 15, 16.
Yep.
I'm certainly not ruling him out, and he's the evidence. The recent evidence is, the Geelong game, and he was probably still their best player, wasn't he? But it's hard. How do you? I'm not sure. Year, imagine.
The only other one that I nearly had in was Hawkins. I nearly had Hawkins. I probably had him at 11.
You're a cheerleader here for. Is there any more key forwards you want to put in?
Oh, I've got 2 in there. Right, Franklin and Hawkins.
Franklin at 36 next year, and I'm his biggest fan, as you know. Hawkins is there.
Yep.
You haven't put yourself in, but.
Nah, 15.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, 15. Well, there you go, Flash. We're actually pretty similar. I didn't think we would be
very similar,
thinking the same.
Yeah,
but,
I was hoping so. Really.
I really wanted you to put Papley in there because I was going to go Heaney's better than him, Franklin's better than him. I think Mills
I know,
and Rampy are better than him. But
I read the play there.
You've still got your Sydney scarf on from calling that game up at York Park. Well, we are always looking forward to hearing what the fans out there have got in their top 10. No doubt they'll be different to ours. And you probably get a better look at some of your sides and players that play for your team and know the value that maybe we don't. This is Jack and Flash, and Flash is filling in for Paney on SEN Hobart. It's time to get some news headlines.